premier adult active community on top of the world. From time to time, Robert will bring guests, and you're sure to enjoy our little chats. After all, you deserve the world, and we bring it to you.
Hi, I'm Lori.
Hi, I'm Vanessa.
We are
the American Moms.
Join us Monday through Friday,
10:30 to 11 a.m.
on WOCA Radio,
96.3 FM,
and 1370 AM, The Source. So that wasn't so bad, was it? See, you're going to like radio. It's a lot of fun. And you can act, you have to talk. I can't, you have to respond. Just respond to me.
American Moms is brought to you by Stanfield Chiropractic.
Previously fungicide is to Pentfield what vowels are to the English language. With it, disease control sind compult.
It couldn't be any clearer. Provosol fungicide is to peanut fields what vowels are to the English language. Without it, disease control isn't complete. Provosol fungicide from BASF is the missing piece you need to finish off disease. Always read and follow label directions.
It's time for the American Moms. Here they are, Vanessa Stanfield and Lori Martin Gregory.
They want, but they're not making informed consent. That's why that's dangerous, because they're not. Hi, this is Lori.
And Vanessa.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning to you guys. So Lori and I are actually probably going to disagree a little bit today.
We might, but it's an important conversation
It doesn't
to have
happen often,
because
really.
people need to understand that we are in a major psyops, that the world has been fooled, and that junk science is reigning the day. Junk science is winning the day. And that is the biggest, this is the biggest story of the 21st century.
So people are going to ask you this, I assume. How do you differentiate junk science from real science? Because for every, one article that a mainstream legitimate source puts out, which is not necessarily really legitimate, you and I could probably find 10 articles that would contradict what they're saying. However, how can the layperson who isn't, doesn't have a physician husband at home or isn't involved?
But that's the physician husbands are indoctrinated for the most part.
Well,
the
mine
ones
isn't,
who
but
aren't, the ones who, well, he's a chiropractor.
I mean, like
I'm talking
that-
about like
well-
MDs, a lot of MDs who are still in the Western industrial medical complex are indoctrinated into the system of Western medicine, which is based on allopathic medicine, which is based on the curriculum that is in place at every medical school in the United States, which is completely managed, created, and controlled by the Rockefeller Foundation. That is the truth. You can go look it up for yourself. The indoctrination of teaching surrounding MDs in order to become a licensed MD in the United States means you have to go through an indoctrination program where guess how long you learn about science of vaccines, for example. When you're in school to be a doctor, how many modules do you think there are about vaccine safety?
Not very many.
0.
I was going to say one.
No. All they are taught in medical school is the schedule that is put out by the CDC. The idea that safe and effective is already baked in means they don't have to look at it because their perspective is that one size fits all when it comes to medicine. You take one pill, one pharmaceutical product, one compound, one microbe, one molecule, and you prescribe it across the entire population. And that is what science is based on in the industrial medical complex. Now, even if you go back as recent as 10 years ago on 60 Minutes, you'll actually see there was a piece done by Leslie Stahl about sleeping pills, Ambien. There was a big case where a very prominent American ended up crashing her car because she had taken Ambien the night before. And what they found when they started to look at the metabolism of Ambien, which I believe is an opioid, classified as an opioid, what they found is that women have a much longer half-life than men when it comes to that drug staying in their bodies. So when this gal crashed her car the next day, they actually found high levels of Ambien still in her system. And what they did when they went all the way back, the lawyers went all the way back to the clinical trials around Ambien, and they found that there were 0 clinical studies done to compare how men and women metabolize opioids differently. So unfortunately, the entire system is gamed in favor of the pharmaceutical companies. That's how we ended up with an opioid crisis in America. And we are failing societally if we think that 56% of all children having some kind of chronic diagnosis is normal.
Well, I want to speak to the opioid crisis in America.
I need to help you. Ambien, which is Zolpidem.
Yep.
It's a sedative hypnotic. It's not a
not an opioid. Thank you.
Well, I want to say this with regard to opioids specifically, because you brought up a good point and something you said earlier kind of just maybe touched a little raw nerve with me, because being the wife of a chiropractor, they are discounted left and right, people.
100%.
The other day I ran into someone, he's like, I really want to see a chiropractor, but somebody told me they're quacks. And I'm like, well, I don't know what the heck, who you're talking to. But so just for clarification's sake, for anyone who's listening, chiropractors are licensed physicians in the state of Florida.
Okay.
Physician. So you have an MD is a physician, a DO is a physician, a chiropractor is a physician.
Do you know how many
They're
states do that,
physicians.
Vanessa? Because I talked to a chiropractor
I only live here
in Tulsa the other day, and Oklahoma does the same thing. So in Oklahoma, chiropractors and MDs have the same rights. They are physicians, and they are licensed and governed by the medical board in the state of Oklahoma, and they are considered equal to.
Absolutely.
I thought we were past that, because I have tremendous respect for the chiropractic industry, not only because they tend to be free thinkers, but because they are expert practitioners in an area of medicine that the industrial Western medical complex abandoned.
And it's on purpose, because you're saying that the pharma industry owns us, basically. Right. So of course they're not going to say, hey, try your chiropractor first, because they have no skin in that game.
They don't.
They're not going to make any money off of that.
But in the 80s, when the chiropractic industry started to become compensated by insurance companies, I felt like that was a huge win, because it was the system basically saying, endorsing chiropractors and saying this is legitimate.
Well, because the science was there,
science was there,
and they couldn't avoid
deny it.
You can't deny something
that's there.
Deny
little
real
side
science.
note. Little side note. My name is Thomas, because my mother named me after Thomas Owen, the chiropractor who she said adjusted her and made it where she could get pregnant after she was told she wasn't going to get pregnant in the 60s.
Praise God.
When they thought it was really junk science.
See, that's when they really thought they were quacking.
I'm named after a chiropractor.
And can we just have a blanket disclaimer on this show in general?
Yeah.
There are good people in the world, and there are bad people in the world.
Hell, there are good people and bad people in this room.
Some of those good people are chiropractors and lawyers and doctors. Some of those bad people are chiropractors and lawyers and doctors.
Without question. And I can give you a list if you want.
That's the list. We sell that list, don't we? That's the one that's for sale, though. Right?
Email Tom at WOCA, and I will give you the price list.
JK.
But that's a really... I mean, really, ultimately, it comes down to your personal ethics and your personal code and who you are as a person, your relationship with the Lord or not, your relationship with the Creator or not, your relationship with Satan or not. And that's really what it comes down to, is what do you subscribe to as your personal code about doing what's right, thinking for yourself, and making sure. See, you know this. You know I come from 4 generations of journalists.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you know that even if my mom says she loves me, I still have to check it out. Right?
Well.
So that need to know has followed me my whole life, because it's literally in my bloodstream.
Right.
And so when I was a little kid, I would drive my mom nuts. But why, Mommy? But why? Why? I always needed to know why.
Right.
I want to understand the reason behind the decision.
Well, I want to go back to the opioid part, because that was part that I didn't get to finish. But basically, if you look at places like the University of South Florida, if you need if you have back pain, for instance, you call in and they will channel you first to a chiropractor. They're trying to keep people out of surgery that don't necessarily need it, see if something else can help prior to surgery, because there is, I think it's pretty well known that if you end up with a back surgery, you're on opioids, and sometimes people don't come off of them.
Hello.
You get it.
Hello.
So, I mean,
Hello.
obviously.
And the next thing you know, you're going into the Cala PD with your drugs saying, help, I need a rehab bed.
All I know is I took.
So there's
all
that.
I know is I took, and my fiance cleared it up today. I took oxycodone, oxycodone, and I was in the backyard at 2:30 in the morning, thinking that the mayor was there.
I know.
having
we
a
heard last
proclamation
week.
day.
I know. We heard about it.
I love it.
The
I love
thing
that
is
story.
that
I wish we were invited over for this because I wanted to see it.
evidently we were there.
You were there, evidently.
I don't know.
Y'all
what
were in the
you're talking
backyard
about.
eating cake and ice cream with me. I don't know.
Well, dang, I love cake.
But I have to echo your mom's sentiments, Tom, because when I was trying to conceive my son, I went to a chiropractor and I had the same experience. And when people say to me, because I'm such a fan of chiropractors, and Dr. Joe is my chiropractor in Ocala. I love Dr. Joe.
Stanfield
He's so good.
Chiropractic.
Vanessa Stanfield Chiropractic.
The group that brings you American
That's
Moms.
right. That's right. And we'll talk more about that when we come back. How about that?
Sure.
Because here's the thing. I'm not sure people equate. I have a really great analogy I just thought of that we can actually use to tell people of kind of what does chiropractic serve.
We're back. The 30th Orlando International Fringe Theater Festival will take place May 18th to the 31st in Lock Haven Park, and digitally June 4th through the 18th through a new program called DigiFringe. Enjoy performances from artists all around the world. Ticket prices range from free to $12 and are available online at orlandofringe.org or at the box office.
Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the first Wednesday of each month at 9:30 to Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion, and learn how they can help you. Fridays at 9 a.m., WOCA and the Early Learning Coalitions of Marion County will share information on the coalition, what it does, voluntary pre-kindergarten, and more. Roseanne Fricks, Chief Executive Officer, and Elizabeth Yola, Chief Program Officer, will be guests. A bright future starts with preparation now. Knowledge is power, and good beginnings equal great endings. We all benefit from the greatness, so be sure to tune in each Friday at 9 a.m. for early learning right here on The Source.
Are you wasting time boxing up packages and going to the post office or the UPS store? Are you tired of not knowing what you'll pay when you get there? Just Ship offers pickup service and flat rate packaging and postage rates, which takes the guesswork out of shipping while saving you time and money. So quit wasting valuable time and money. Call or text Just Ship at 352-234-3840. That's 352-234-3840. Just Shipped. And now back to the American Moms, Vanessa and Lori.
Oh my gosh. And
Here we
at
are.
some point, we probably should see if maybe Dr. Joe would come and do,
Maybe.
give folks him out. He
says,
not,
I'm not a mom.
oh,
I'm not a mom.
he's not a mom.
I'm not a mom.
Okay.
He also says I'm not his mom on Mother's Day. So there's
But
a
he can
he's
help, Mom.
consistent with
He
his
can-
consistent.
He can help moms.
Oh,
He
he
could.
can't. I'll
See?
tell you. Sciatica in pregnancy.
I know, right?
Right?
I didn't have it.
I didn't either because I did shoulder stands, but I know, like, my sister had
I had
it
a
really
chiropractor.
bad. You had a chiropractor.
Yeah, I got lucky. And I'll tell you, every epidural that I got, there were comments made on my amazing epidural space.
Oh my gosh,
Imagine
really?
that. Yeah.
Well, you had a caller, but then they hung up.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Maybe it was the
Yeah.
epidurals.
Maybe the epidural got him.
That was it.
I wanted, and back to the vein of what you were saying, that, we need truth.
We
right?
need truth. We need truth.
Back to the. I was listening to the news this morning, and I see that Shady Fauci
Shady Fauci. Slim Shady Fauci. Can we just call him that from now?
He has now become Flip-Flop Fauci.
Oh, shocker.
Uh-huh.
What's wrong with flip-flops?
He is acknowledging that, yeah, you know what? This
Maybe
virus
this thing was
probably
man-made.
came from the lab.
Son of a gun. Isn't that something when they find evidence that you colluded? How all of a sudden you agree?
Amazing.
You mean the fact that they, a year before this was supposedly released,
Uh-huh.
they find that Chinese people were going to the hospital to get taken care of COVID?
Or was it that Fauci patented that piece of the coronavirus that is from HIV in 2017? Was it that?
Shady flip-flopper.
It's all about population control. You'll never convince me different.
You are 100% right. And anybody who doesn't know what that means, just look up Georgia Guidestones.
Yes.
That will freak you out.
Look up Georgia Guidestones and check it out. Look it up. Oh my gosh, I love to red pill people because we need more red pills. We need
It's
more
just
red
when
pills.
you go down the rabbit hole, the hole gets
but
a lot
here's the
bigger. It
thing.
turns into a whole rabbit land.
It's a rabbit.
It's a rabbit
trail.
cavern.
It's a habit trail.
Rabbit.
It is.
Rabid rabbits.
But you know,
It's
health,
Middle Earth, like in The Hobbit.
It
It's Middle Earth.
is.
A little bit. Maybe, yeah.
But
yeah,
health,
I was going to
health
take us
freedom,
down more of a rabbit hole.
Health
but I'll-
freedom is the gateway rabbit hole.
It kind of is because it does
is.
open you up.
It
you know?
opens you up to the population control narrative. It opens you up to MK Ultra. It opens you up to Project Monarch. It opens you up to Project Paperclip. It opens you up to junk science.
It opens you up to psychos coming after you.
It opens you up to child trafficking. It opens you up to a whole bunch of election fraud. We could just keep going.
Yep.
There are so many quote
They're
unquote.
all very connected.
I know they are. It's a giant spider
It's
web.
not that you necessarily have to buy any or all of
Nope.
them.
Research
Because
what
we're
I told
all
you.
about the freedom.
That's right.
Freedom to research.
You're on with the American Moms.
I have to put these on.
Hello,
Hey.
caller.
Moms, this is Tracy calling back from Friday.
Hi, Tracy. I'm so glad
Tracy.
you called back. How are you?
I'm wonderful, and I really am enjoying your discussions this morning. I think I said amen in my head about 100 times.
Amen, girl.
Awesome.
Well, what do
Yeah.
you think? I mean, do you think that health freedom is the gateway rabbit hole? Because I really think it is. I think it leads to a whole bunch of other knowledge that is completely censored on the mainstream media channels. What do you think?
I 100% agree with everything that you said this morning.
I
And
love it.
I've seen a chiropractor for many, many years, and I love the fact that you said that there are good, practitioners, lawyers, teachers, and then there are bad, and there are bad ones as well. And so you really have to be tuned into your body. You need to listen to your body. You need to listen to. You need to pray about it. I think that everybody needs to be an independent thinker, and there's not a one-size-fits-all.
And that's okay.
So,
what may work for your neighbor may not work for you. And I know in our office, there's no hard feelings. If it's
That's
just
okay.
not jiving, it doesn't happen often.
And
but when it does happen, Joe's happy to give someone a referral. Here, this person may be more of what you're looking for. But
exactly. And one person may need 3 adjustments a week, and the other person may need to go in there once a month.
Exactly.
So, everybody's track is different. But I didn't want to get too deep into that discussion. I just wanted to applaud the conversation this morning. But I did call back to just remind your listeners to come to the school board meeting tomorrow. We want parents to show up as a call to action and, stand in solidarity to ask the school board to take the masks off the kids, make that decision for the 21-22 school year, make it optional. I liked how Vanessa on Friday did say, listen, if you still want your child to wear the mask to school, then that should be your option too.
thank you.
And so we're not saying, we're not speaking for both sides of it here. We're just saying, make the masks optional and allow the parents to make that decisions for their children.
And while I understand where you and Vanessa are coming from, I totally disagree. I feel that we are in a place where truth needs to prevail. We need to be harbingers of truth. I believe it's very important to point out the fact that we have been sold junk science. I believe in real science. That's why I worked for years on Wall Street with biotech and pharmaceutical companies. I understand that there's truth, and I understand that there's lies. And when you have when you have what we have, when you're faced with a baked-in lie that has gotten to this point, this is like a bad joke that has gone too far. It's time to put the truth on the table. We are not facing a pandemic. 2 million people did not die, as Dr. Neil Ferguson from the Imperial College in London, which were the models that Bill Gates and Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci used to tell President Trump we need to shut down this entire world, this entire country. They were false. 2 million people did not die. By the way, Dr. Neil Ferguson is known for telling us all we were going to die of mad cow 20 years ago. Did that happen? That's his legacy prior to these models. The models were false. 2.2 million people did not die. 99.9996% of children survive this. They should have never been masked in the first place. And I have a whole stack of scientific papers that are peer-reviewed, legitimate science that back up what I am saying. When you have ivermectin, budesonide, and hydroxychloroquine as already FDA-approved substances that are treatable, and as was revealed in a peer-reviewed studied paper last week, ivermectin actually prevents COVID. You don't have a need for an emergency use vaccine. You don't have to rush a vaccine that for 15 years resulted in dead animals when the animals were re-exposed to the virus after vaccination. We are in we have a real problem here, because now we have a whole bunch of people that are vaccinated that are going to be re-exposed, and we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if they're going to be like 100%. The ferrets. It's a total experiment. And if you have a life insurance policy and you either are intending to get the COVID shot or you've already received the COVID shot, you better go and check your life insurance policy and see if they will cover you for for any kind of death for experimental use drugs, because most of them do not. Yeah. That is the truth.
I mean, I 100% agree with everything that you're saying, that this is all based around junk science. It's one big bad joke, and we're fed lies constantly. And it would be nice for us to unnormalize wearing a mask every day, even on adults. It's not normal, and it is. It's based on junk science and fear. And I would love for us to be able to wake everybody up. I would love for that opportunity to happen, and I would love to be able to educate the board and for them to look at other, let's just say, experts instead of just the CDC and the Florida Health Department. I would absolutely love for them to have some leadership and make this decision based on real science and other studies that have been done over the last 13, 14 months.
Amen, Tracy. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for your call. We're up against a hard break here tomorrow night at the school board. I love Marion County, and I love our school board, and I'm hoping we can bring some truth.
Can I just interject here?
Yeah.
I know that this issue is a hot-button issue. Mm-hmm. I know it's an issue that parents say we should have the choice. Shouldn't be up to a school board. Shouldn't be up to a school board. But also on the docket tomorrow is whether or not they should close Evergreen Elementary.
Ooh.
So don't go just for the mask issue
right.
and then think that's the only issue.
Sure,
if you're going to the
issues.
school board issue because you're concerned about decisions the school board makes,
yep.
stay for the whole damn meeting.
There's
don't just go for one issue and leave.
Right. There's lots going on. But I have to put my foot down here, because I am all for people having choice based on truth.
But you're not. That's
what
you're saying.
No, because it's not truth. It's false.
It's only your truth, and maybe somebody else doesn't buy into it, and it is their right to not buy into it.
It's false.
Period.
But it's their right to buy into it.
But it's their right to not get it.
But it's not the right of our agencies to push lies, to have people buy into lies.
That's a totally different situation. We're talking about independent, individual Americans have the right to make a choice.
They need to make it with informed consent. They're not given the truth.
Maybe they feel like they have it.
They don't.
Well,
but
if
that's
they
not
don't
your
it's
job.
Their choice.
But it is our job.
You don't
I'm in the media.
You can't force it on them.
But if you're in the media, you have a responsibility to tell the truth. And if you know the truth and you don't tell it, God help you.
Well, that's between you and God, but that is their individual right.
There are people that think that what you're saying, Lori, I promise you, because I hear it from people.
Sure.
They go, that Lori girl, she tells lies all the time on the radio.
Sure.
Because what they say is what you're saying is a lie because they've been indoctrinated the other way.
So can I wear a tinfoil hat to school? Can my kid wear a tin? No.
I would think that would be hilarious.
Right, but it's what I believe. Don't I have a right? Don't
you
I
should.
have a right
You
for my
absolutely
kid to
should
wear?
have a right.
Do you think the school's going to let my kid
I
wear
don't know
a
what the
tinfoil
school's
going to
let your kid
They
do.
are. It's called.
Absolutely
They are right
not.
now. It's called a mask.
They are not going to let him wear a tinfoil
They do.
hat to school.
They let him do right now. It's called a mask.
Because they wouldn't even let you wear a mask before the fake pandemic.
100%.
You weren't allowed to wear a mask even for Halloween.
I don't believe in Halloween, so I got
But
no skin in that game.
But the point is the same, right? In terms of policy, you were not allowed to. So they do have restrictions in place about what you can and can't
They have a
do.
lot of restrictions that I don't agree with, but I still support the parents' right to choose. And let me be really honest, if I don't want my kids to wear a mask to school, they're not wearing it.
Go girl.
And what the school board says, be damned, because I'm the parent. They are not. So we can take that up.
And that brings to a close another American Moms. That's a good way to finish. See you tomorrow.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
On Sunday, Iran's Parliament Speaker Mohammad Kilibaf said that a 3-month monitoring agreement with the United Nations International Atomic Energy Agency has expired, so inspectors can no longer access nuclear sites. 3 researchers from China's Wuhan Institute of Virology sought hospital care in November of 2019, months before China disclosed the COVID-19 pandemic. The timeline disputes China's claim that the virus came from the wild. The United States will expand temporary protection against deportation for 18 months to Haitian citizens already in the United States, the DHS announced on Saturday. Temporary protection status, or TPS, shields migrants from designated nations from deportation and grants them work permits in the United States on the basis that it would be unsafe to return them to their home countries due to a crisis such as an armed conflict or a natural disaster. USA Radio News.
I'm hungry. What's to eat?
Beans again.
Did somebody say hungry? Pistol Pete's Jerky at pistolpetesjerky.com. A herd of delicious flavors. Break bronco busting hunger. Lasso up your order at pistolpetesjerky.com.
Thanks, Pistol Pete.
I made it myself. pistolpetesjerky.com. Tell them Pete sent you.
PistolPetesJerky.com is the official beef jerky of the Chosen Generation Radio Show. When you place your order, you'll receive 2 free U.S. Constitutions and a U.S. flag sticker. 1 Constitution for you to read cover to cover, and the second to pass on to your friends, family, or loved ones. Go to PistolPetesJerky.com and use discount code CGR to get an additional 10% off. PistolPetesJerky.com and place your order today.
Another governor is caught ignoring their pandemic guidelines. Dan Naraki from the Ohio USA Radio News Bureau reports.
Michigan's governor has issued an apology after being caught violating her own health orders. Governor Gretchen Whitmer was photographed at an East Lansing bar, apparently violating her social distancing order. Whitmer apologized on Sunday, saying that because everyone in her group was vaccinated, she hadn't thought twice when 2 tables were pushed together to accommodate the growing group. Whitmer is one of several governors who have faced severe backlash over their COVID restrictions. From the USA Radio News Ohio Bureau, I'm Dan Naraki.
Black Lives Matter activist Sasha Johnson is in critical condition after sustaining a gunshot wound in an incident in South London. In a statement on the group's Facebook page, the party said the incident happened in the early hours of Sunday and followed numerous death threats. A Met Police statement said there was nothing to suggest that it had been a targeted attack. Johnson is a prominent member of the TTIP, which has been described as Britain's first black-led political party. Sasha is a mother of 3 children. This is USA Radio News.
Hi, this is Dr. Joel Wallach, and I want to tell you that arthritis is not a genetic thing. It's not a disease of aging. Neither is osteoporosis. Get a hold of my book. It's all in your head. It goes into the 25 different diseases you get when you have osteoporosis of the skull. These are all reversible. You take the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, the MSM, vitamin D3, stay away from all the bad foods, including gluten, and guess what? You'll regrow all your bones, including your skull and your legs and your hips and everything else. Contact us at usaradiohealth.com. That's usaradiohealth.com.
This day in history, Flash, 1974. The David Frost President Nixon interview takes place where Nixon said the president is within his rights to order phone tapping and burglaries if it's in the interest of public safety. Years later, Sir David Frost on WNBC talks about what happened behind the scenes between Secretary of State Henry Kissinger and President Nixon.
They had to stay loyal to each other because they each had the goods on each other, obviously, in that sense. But they both did want to get the credit for the good stuff and try and somehow pass the bad stuff over to the other one, so that you had this funny situation of that with Nixon did take exactly the line that Henry mentioned there. He did take the line that, that Henry, of course, he was brilliant and brilliant intellectual and so on, but like all intellectuals, he was, could be unreliable and all that sort of thing. So he would get his point in that way without directly attacking Kissinger. And then Henry, in his case, took the line more of saying, oh yes, Richard Nixon was a wonderful president because he was such a good delegator, and he delegated all the difficult things, of course, to me. So that they were both going for the prize without alienating.
Thanks for listening. We're USA Radio News. I'm Lance Pry.
When asked, 1 out of 1 morning host on WOCA, that's me, says Formaggio's Pizza and Italian Restaurant is the best pizza and Italian in Ocala. Formaggio's is located at 1053 Northeast 14th Street. They're open for lunch and dinner Monday through Friday with lunch specials that change daily. They also are open for dinner on Saturdays. Dine in or carry out. Call 352-509-3661 so you can experience the deliciousness of Formaggio's Pizza and Italian Restaurant. Now I'm hungry.
Veterans Helping Veterans USA. Call 352-433-2320. We help veterans and their families with limited financial assistance, counseling, employment referrals, and a food and clothing bank. You can help in making a huge difference in the veterans' lives we serve by donating food, clothing, household items, or direct financial assistance. All donations are tax deductible. Veterans Helping Veterans USA. 352-433-2320. Thank you for your attention, and God bless America.
Howdy folks, RL here for Dairy Queen again to tell you about what's hot and what's not. Dairy Queen has some of the best char-grilled chicken breasts on earth, as well as their chicken breast salad. And the burgers are exceptional, cooked on a real grill for the best flavor and less fat. And for dessert, blizzards are unequaled. Personally, banana split is my all-time favorite. Dairy Queen Silver Springs, where we always treat you like kings and queens.
WOCA.
Ocala.
This is a special edition of the Mike Gallagher Show, Crisis at the Border.
Nobody has done worse on border security than President Biden.
This crisis is a result of President Biden's open border policies.
Vice President Kamala Harris, who's in charge of the border crisis, won't go, so Mike Gallagher will. Mike's taking his show to the U.S.-Mexico border to shine a light on this urgent situation.
What they are doing is shifting the burden to the states, and once they do that, they're making every state a border state, every town a border town.
And now in the ReliefFactor.com mobile studios at 960 The Patriot, our home in Phoenix, Arizona, here's Mike Gallagher.
I'm always so grateful for the opportunity to visit one of the great radio homes of the Mike Gallagher Show. Phoenix is one of the most important places in the country to us. Great leadership at 960 The Patriot. They're going to have a terrific event tomorrow night. We're headed to the border today after the show. I'll be traveling to Yuma. We're going to meet up with Congressman Andy Biggs. We're going to get a tour of the border. I'm going to see it firsthand. So, Kamala Harris has gone 61 days without even a press conference. Kamala Harris has never come to the border. She's the border czar. Won't come to the border. Can't be bothered. It's called failed Democrat leadership. And we're going to explore it at the Embassy Suites. I hope you'd come out and join us. This will be a pretty exciting event because this is going to be the first in-person event that I've been a part of since the pandemic began. So this is what? We're going back well over a year. Tomorrow at the Embassy Suites in Scottsdale, there are some tickets remaining, although I hear the response has been tremendous. I'll be there along with Dr. Sebastian Gorka, Seth Leibson, of course, the terrific afternoon host at 960 The Patriot. Congressman Biggs will be there, and you are invited to attend. For tickets, to get your tickets, go to 960thepatriot.com. They have VIP seating that gets you best seat in the house. They got general admission seats, and there are tickets remaining. So go to 960thepatriot.com. Don't miss out. That's tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the Embassy Suites in Scottsdale. I'm sure a great part of our conversation, and just ecstatic that Sebastian Gorka agreed to join us for this, because he's so good on the way progressives are destroying America. There's no other way around this. Adam Carolla, of all people, said it best over the weekend. Here's cut 7. Here's Adam Carolla with Jesse Waters on his show Saturday night, laying out, making the case that progressivism is destroying America. We look at these headlines. California, shoplifting, all-time record highs. Walgreens are closing left and right because shoplifters are clearing the shelves, barging into a Walgreens, clearing the shelves, looting, because California Democrats essentially decriminalized shoplifting. Wow. What a surprise that shoplifting crimes are up. Can you imagine being in a Walgreens when some band of thugs and criminals and cretins decide they're going to march in, intimidate and terrify people, and just take whatever they want and leave? But because good progressives don't want bond, they don't want to put people in jail, it's not a fair system. Crime is insanely high now. Look at St. Louis. Have you heard what's going on with the murder rate in St. Louis, Missouri? They already have the highest murder rate in America. The murder rate is at a 50-year high. The mayor there, Tashara Jones, wants to defund the police department and shut down a city jail because she's a good progressive. That's the way progressives roll. Check out Adam Carolla laying this out beautifully over the weekend on Fox News with my buddy Jesse Waters.
Anyone who's been alive for the last 5 years has learned that it's called a progressive movement, and as I always say, it's got progress and movement right in the title. So there is no signs of slowing down or pumping the brakes. And as we've seen, it just goes from one thing to the next.
Yep.
Stuff that they're pitching today would have sounded bizarre and like science fiction and Orwellian 3 years ago.
Yep.
And they're pitching the same stuff with a straight face now. Like, I live in Los Angeles, California. California is trying to do some curriculum with the schools where they're going to eliminate AP math up until the 11th grade to sort of level the playing field. I mean, stuff, they're calling math racist.
Right.
So stuff like that, which would have sounded patently insane a few years ago, is now become a conversation.
I mean, patently insane is an understatement. Shoplifting, I'm reading here from the Wall Street Journal editorial board. I mean, it's unbelievable. We got to shoplifting is skyrocketing. The murder rate in St. Louis. The head of the city's correction department is on his way out. The mayor there announced his resignation last week. She wasn't satisfied with how he was running things. Now, I want you to think for just a moment of how Republicans lead. Look at the story out of Texas. A bill that would increase penalties for protesters blocking roads and obstructing emergency vehicles is on the way to Texas Governor Greg Abbott's desk. He's going to sign it. Peaceful protest does not include blocking roadways and terrorizing people. Let me repeat. Peaceful protest doesn't include blocking roadways and preventing emergency vehicle access. That chaos, said Governor Greg Abbott, will not be tolerated in Texas. Compare that with the newly elected mayor of St. Louis,